Let's go ahead and cover some of the important points that we took a look at throughout this module. So we started things off by understanding the difference between vertical and horizontal scaling. So remember that vertical scaling is the concept of making a resource bigger, making a virtual machine bigger, upgrading it basically to a larger virtual machine size, or we can also do this for a managed service as well by changing it to a larger service plan. So for example, we could scale up an app service plan by going from a standard tier to a premium tier. Horizontal scaling is the idea of adding more of what we already have. So if we've started off with 2 virtual machines, scaling out would be something like adding 4 to that existing group. And of course, scaling back in gives us that elasticity, being able to delete those instances that are no longer in use. We took a look at designing autoscaling rules and kind of the different patterns that we can use with both virtual machine scale sets as well as app service plans. So remember that we've got the concept of scale out rules, scale in rules. We can also scale based on a schedule, and we can even scale manually. We took a look at how to deploy a virtual machine scale set and enable auto scaling in that environment. And remember that by default kind of comes with a load balancer, and we're going to dive more into load balancers when we get into the networking section. And then we also saw that in an app service plan, if we're building managed web applications, the auto scaling configuration works very similarly in the same way it does with virtual machine scale sets. Finally, we talked a little bit about the scalability considerations with Azure Functions. And if you want to make it really easy and you don't have to think too much about scalability and high availability, you can simply pick a consumption plan for your function apps. So that brings us to the end of this module on Autoscale. Let's go ahead and move over to the next module, and we'll continue working on high availability concepts here in the Azure platform.